Hi and welcome everybody. Welcome to a new episode of Fresh Jazzy Sounds. Fresh music released on vinyl with a jazzy vibe. Of course we throw in the mix some funk and some soul. And we start off with Lady Blackbird. Really surprised at the end of last year this was released. And a little bit strange. I picked this album up. It was very hard, it was one of the last I could grab, but as it turns out, it is officially released only in February this year, so I'm not really sure. They also changed the design of the album. This one, I must say, it looks beautiful. So it's called Black Acid Soul. It has a little bit of a Black Sabbath layout. I can assure you, it doesn't sound anything like it. It sounds really surprising, and it sounds very deep. It could have been from any era, although on the other hand it's very 2020. You can really enjoy listening to this one. It is really well made, the performance is awesome, really, and it's very addictive. Once you spin it, it stays in your head and you have to spin it again.
Sweep you off your feet. She'll wine and dine you, but you're the one that have to pay. You'll never see her when she makes her getaway. So beware the stranger lurking in your town. Tall, dark and handsome, y'all beware your heart break down. And I said she's wanted, dead or alive. Distinguishing features, she got cold and shifty eyes.
A beautiful sounding album, really, really nice. For the next album, we're going to mix it up. One of my favorite artists from the UK, Foat, did an album. He releases albums by the bucket loads, and they're all very, very good. And this one is recorded in 2020 in Norway, so in the middle of the Corona pandemic. Foat went to Norway. He teamed up with Timo Akkerblom and Aleski Heinola on drums, a trio setting, and it sounds so incredible. This is the kind of music you put on, you just float away. It is not background music, it's too inspired for that, but they're interplaying, and I don't know if they have met before or this was the first time they met and just bounced ideas from each other and played. I don't think it's improvisational, it's really, or improvisation all the way. It sounds too structured, but you can. I have this album now for quite some months, and I just kept on spinning it. Maybe you've seen it in the back, where I kept it. As long as I spin an album, I keep it there, and as soon as I heard enough of it, I show it to you guys. But Tom with the Cats is really nice. And maybe one fun thing is, when I talked to Greg about this album, because it's the first time, or it was for me the first time I heard him play, and let me double check, on a Moog Grandmother and a Roland JPX 8P. And I saw a picture of him playing it on Instagram, in his own living room. And I said, did you take the instruments with you when you went to Oslo? But it turned to be the other way around. those instruments were in the studio. He liked them so much that he bought them himself, and I think they will reappear in many of his future albums. We now move to an album from the UK. It has I think a South African album or name. And which makes it a little bit difficult for me. It is Vertaal. I speak it as Dutch because it is Dutch. This is our word for translation. So if you want to translate something, you say vertaal something. And it's really difficult in my mind to make it for them what they mean with it, because I'm sure they mean something else. It is their debut album, Paradigm Shifting. It was originally released as a mixtape, or at least that is what the hype sticker says. It's very highly recommended by many people because it has a different sound. It's UK jazz in a different way. Much more electronic in a sense, still very loose, very open, very free. It is 2 albums, and I must say that's a bit long for me. I often play this one more in the background, and it works that way very well. As I already mentioned, South African, it's fun to play another reissue I got from South Africa, which I think it's hot at the moment because quite a few South African albums from the 70s, jazz albums, have been reissued. This one is called Roots, originally from 1975. Never saw it, never seen it before. I don't know the musicians, know very little about this album. It's reissued by Vertaal Records. Thankful they did it, otherwise I would not have known this album, and there's some great music on it. Typical that more, they call it I believe Cape Town music or Cape Town jazz, Cape jazz. If you listen to it, you can get a vibe for what that means, and I think I will stick to that same way of categorizing it. For the next album we go to the US. An album from 2021, Wildflower. It sounds beautiful. It is on 45, I have to remember that. Really surprising album. As it is on 45, it has 2 tracks on every side, so maybe it's more an EP, although it plays like an LP. All the tracks have color names, so you have blue, yellow, green, red. The music is again a trio setting. You have on saxophone Idris Raham, bass is Leon Brickhart, and drums is by Tom Skinner. Really surprising album, released on Tropic of Love. Difficult to categorize, but it sounds really, really nice. and as you can hear, it's pretty loose, there's still a groove, there's still a rhythm. Really unique album, and I really love the sound of it. If it's late at night, this is maybe too fast for you, or I did it by accident, you can play this album perfectly on 33. I will demonstrate that. So this is 45 the way it is meant to be. This is 33, and actually I have played this album quite a few times on 33 just because I like the sound of it. It's more deeper, it's almost more meaningful in a way. Strange, but it's one of those few albums you can play at any speed and it sounds good. Next album is by Coleman Records, so you know it's going to be funky. Probably you guessed it, to this, relating to the 60s. Of those, this one is much more related to the 70s. Durand Jones and the Indications, Private Space. You can see it on the cover. Looks a little bit more disco-y, boogie vibes. And I like it for that reason. Really, that change in direction, perfect move. And go away from the path that we're going on, although you can clearly still hear it's a Durand Jones album, his voice. But with this music from the 70s, or that incorporation of the 70s vibe, it makes it very, very nice. Still clearly hear the influences of the different eras, but the way they mix it on this one really surprised me, and it was a tip by Diana, Digging in the Grades, who showed it on Instagram and suggested that I played it. One record which I got from her, from the shop actually, White Rabbit it's called. Do you recognize it? 70s album, Tim Maia. This is like the holy grail of holy grails from Tim Maia. You have Rationale, volume 2 is incredible to get. This one is even harder to get. So when I saw she had a reissue for sale, which was also impossible because you have to get a bootleg. This is a bootleg from 2018 or something, or 15, in low quantities, or at least it is suggested a limited edition of 300 pieces. So why it turned up in 2021 at some point is not clear to me. But I was very happy that I could grab it. On Discogs it's impossible because they block unofficial releases. Tim Maia, 1978. What do you need to talk about? I mean, it's just brilliant.
Meeting parties and cocktails to preserve peace on earth, but they never find the way. You know why? You know why? You know why? Because love is really the answer. This you have to agree. It will be celebration when all people.
And the good news is, if you like the album and the music, it is being reissued again a bootleg, I guess. on blue vinyl. It will be released 2022, I think somewhere in March. So if you see it, you like the music, grab it. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video. Goodbye.